Hey, everybody. Welcome. So, LinkedIn apparently does not like me because this happens every time I try and stream live on LinkedIn. But hi, everyone. Welcome to this special Ask Temi Live, where we are discussing creativity not being enough. Now, before we jump in, let me know, where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? Go ahead and drop a comment, drop a chat. I'm so excited. I think we have folks from all over. We're live on Instagram. We're on YouTube. I think we're on Facebook too. You know, we're out here. We are doing the thing. Want to know where everybody is before we jump into today's topic. And I want to know, why are you here, right? What was it about this that made you, maybe you're just like, Tami's live today. Or maybe you're like, what does she mean creativity isn't enough? I've got these great business ideas. Like, why wouldn't that be enough? Right? These are some of the questions people are asking. So let me know what you are exploring, what you are wondering about. All right. Let me see. Got some people dropping in on YouTube and Instagram. Welcome, everyone. And Facebook. Welcome. So I wanted to take a little bit of a different approach than I usually take when it comes to these lives. We're always asking some questions, but I've learned a lot in working with my different clients and just building my own business. And I wanted to peel the curtains back a bit on some of the things and misconceptions that I see. And I wanted to start off by really talking to, I see some of my people, NA. Sorry, I'm going to jump into it. But NA is a true person. What's up, NA? Welcome. All right, but let's talk. Let's talk. Those of you on Instagram, let's talk, everybody. I want to know, I want us to talk about what works in terms of business and wealth, right? You hear a lot of statistics about, hey, the millionaires and the billionaires in this world are all entrepreneurs, so you need to start your own business. And they're not wrong. That's what the stats show us. The people who are making that money, they are indeed. Oh, this is awesome. People want to start growing their channel. I love it. But they are indeed business owners, right? That's a real thing. So if you're here, if you're joining on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, and you are a business owner, that's part of the reason why you do what you do. That's part of the reason why you're here today. I want to let you know you're not alone. And I understand that, right? Most people go into business to be profitable, to make money. But I want you to know that having a creative idea isn't enough. Most people think that, hey, once I come up with that perfect idea and people hear about it, boom, I'm going to be wealthy, right? And so we spend a lot of time working on ideas. We spend a lot of time focusing on that. But there's so much more to creating scalable wealth. And it just makes me think about different situations. I'm going to be transparent and tell you also part of the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you all today. As we are in election season, there are lots of different things that are happening in different groups and people that are impacted by the decisions we make when we go to the polls. And I want us to recognize that when it comes to business ownership, a lot of the clients that I have, a lot of the people that I serve, they're people who are in disenfranchised communities. They are minorities often. And not everybody wants everybody to succeed. Okay. I think it's important that we be honest and real about that. Not everybody wants everybody to succeed. Okay. And so when we're talking about the ways in which people kind of engage and interact with the world and with business, it's important to know that if you're stepping into that arena, there are some secrets, right? It's not just about the idea, right? In certain communities, creativity has never been an issue. People create things all the time, right? I love to bring up people in pop culture because we know them, we hear their stories, right? So I've mentioned Nick Cannon before. Nick Cannon created Wild 'N Out, and he had some battles with trying to maintain ownership of what he created, right? Dave Chappelle, he owned and created the Dave Chappelle Show, but he had some back and forths about retaining that ownership and growing that. And we know about these people because at least they have status, but they have some form of wealth and fame. But there are people who are still creative, but they're not able to maximize those creative ideas. They're not able to scale those creative ideas. And today I wanted to talk about a few ways that I think we should think about this. I wanted to give a framework. So, you know me, we're always stepping into the digital classroom, right? Welcome, Micah. I see a couple of folks coming through. I love it, love it, love it. All right, so we're going to step into the digital classroom and we are going to switch gears a little bit. Let's go here. All right. Now, like I already said, we know creativity doesn't equal wealth, okay? Being creative doesn't mean you're going to make money, but understanding the systems that are at work can help, right? When you realize that there's a little bit more to this. And so I have a particular goal today. We're not just gathered to just talk, right? We're gathered to make sure that we're actually doing something that helps us move forward. So I know people are here who want to grow their businesses, want to grow their YouTube channels, which are their businesses, want to grow their impact and want to grow their wealth, right? We want to make sure, and we'll talk about what that means. But I want to help you identify, protect, and leverage what you create to generate scalable wealth today. Okay, so this is kind of like a quick masterclass. Haven't done one of these in a long time. Used to do lunch and learns, but I really want us to unpack this. So that's our focus for today. And I want to give you a roadmap. I know I gave some time for people to kind of fill into the room, but what we're talking about today is we're going to start off with the common challenges and misconceptions, right, that are associated with this. And then I'm going to share with you a framework that I came up with that I think is going to be really helpful in terms of remembering how to move and how to apply some of the secrets, right? Oh yeah, of course it's okay to share the video. For sure, Micah, please feel free. And welcome my fellow Texan, right? And thank you, NA, for the compliment. I appreciate it. We be trying, we try. But today we're going to focus on talking about the common misconceptions and challenges. We're going to talk about this framework, rocking what you create. And then we're going to go ahead and do a live Q&A. If you have questions, I'm here to answer them. All right. And it doesn't have to be just about what we talk about. It could be beyond that. Now, big question, big idea, right? People feel like, okay, I have great ideas, so why can't I scale my business? Like there are a lot of people who are building businesses. They know they're creative. They're willing to do the work and they're doing the work, but they're not seeing scalable wealth. You might even be in a place where you're seeing income, right? You're generating revenue, you're generating money, but it's like the money comes and the money goes, right? It's not scaling. You're not creating the type of money that multiplies. You're not creating the type of money in your business that really allows you to expand at a rate and expand your impact at the way that you want to, right? So we have that. But let's talk about what is the scalable wealth, right? I think that this is financial resources that can be multiplied with ease. So again, this is not a conversation just about generating revenue. I have a mentor, sister, client, friend, Vivian Jokotade. She has recently launched a platform called Profit Brief. This is an amazing platform if you want to learn kind of those basics for generating revenue. I would advise you to check that out, profitbrief.com. I think she has some cool things in the works. But that's a great place to talk about generating that money. But then once you're generating money, how do you multiply it with ease? Right? It's one thing to generate revenue. It's another thing to multiply it, to leverage it, to move it forward. I think the first thing that you need to know when we're talking about this conversation is you have to know that what you create matters. And I say this because when we start talking about what the things are that you create and how you can leverage it, half of it is rooted in recognizing the value of what you create, right? Half of it is recognizing the value of what you create, because you are already creating massive value just in the ways in which you run your business, the ways in which you're operating and navigating things. You are creating things that matter. And when you recognize that you're creating things that matter, you have a responsibility to protect those things. right? And utilize them. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends, and we were talking about this, and we were talking about something that she created. And I had to like, hey, listen, this thing has value. Now, what happens is people don't bet on themselves. People don't believe that what they're creating matters. And in those instances, you don't put together the proper frameworks, foundations to maximize it because you don't value it. Right? There are people who then go into certain things and they say, ooh, I see it here. I see the value here. How can I maximize it? And so let's talk about what the things are that you actually create. Because we often think about it in a really limited perspective. Here are some of the things that you create. You create capital. That's cash. That's money, right? In your business, you're creating money, but that's not the only thing. Right? You're also creating relationships. You are meeting with people. You are connecting with people. Here on YouTube, we have these relationships. On Instagram, we're connecting. We have friends. We have followers. Those things are valuable. There are people who utilize those things. And let me talk about that just even a little bit more. Do you realize that even your network with regards to your influence, right? Your presence is something that can be monetized. We've seen the people who have the brand deals. We've seen the people who are able to leverage that because people know they have an audience, right? And there are people who recognize that. There are big businesses that recognize that. And you can leverage the connections that you have, the meaningful connections you have with the people you know, in order to make more connections, right? Leveraging the fact that you have an audience to partner with other organizations, to partner with other brands, to partner with people who are doing businesses in areas similar to you. When I look back at my clients who are experiencing the best growth, who are experiencing the most growth, they leverage their relationships. It's not just about the money. They are very intentional about who they connect with. They are very intentional about what they do with those connections, how they communicate with those connections, and they add value to those connections. So they're recognizing that the relationships that they create matter. In addition to that, you create methods of execution. You have systems and you have operations that allow you to do what you do in a unique way. That is value. There are people who don't know how to lay certain foundations the way that you do. All of that, your methodologies, your strategies, your tactics, those are valuable. And there are ways to protect and leverage those things. And those people who are able to scale their wealth understand that, and they are able to package, document, and move in such a way where they're taking their operations, their strategies, and they're able to scale them. They're able to multiply them. What does this mean? This might mean that you have developed systems within your business where you are not the only person doing the work. And because of that, you're able to multiply your impact. I'll tell you a statistic. Well, I don't have the exact statistic, but I'll tell you a common occurrence. One of the things, if we're talking about people in the African American community, if we're talking about people in the Black community, one of the things that, in addition to racism, because we know racism exists, right? Systematic racism, we know all these things happen. Okay. But in addition to that, there is also another barrier that keeps us from scaling. And that's that sometimes we start businesses where we're unable to multiply ourselves. We're unable to duplicate ourselves. We're unable to bring in employees so that we can expand our work, right? And expand the reach of our work. Those elements, right? Building a business that you can get yourself out of and have other people do is part of what allows you to scale. I say this because, again, I get to see the clients who are maximizing and who are able to really scale, make their money stretch. And I see the ones who are not able to. And one of the things that they have a big difference is how they execute and how they value, right? How much they value the ability to figure out the systems and the operations within their businesses in order to scale. Right. So we want to make sure that if we're talking about scalable wealth and understanding that what you create matters, that you're not forgetting your execution, your systems, and your operations. Next, your assets. And you know, I love talking about assets, especially intellectual property assets. Now, there's someone that I have been totally fangirling over for the past few months, Daniel Priestley. I've been following him. If you're into business, I think he's an excellent person to follow online. And one of the interesting things he said in a recent conversation with someone is he said that the times are shifting now. Back in the day, everyone's value, right, in terms of their assets could be found in their real estate. And yes, today real estate is still valuable, so I'm not downplaying it. But the social and digital landscape and the way in which technology is moving, there are many intellectual property assets, intangible assets that you can't touch and feel, but are digital landscapes and digital territories that people own, marketplaces and spaces of influence that people dominate, right, that they're leveraging in order to create income, right? And they are maximizing that. So this got me thinking. I started thinking about, are people owning, right, and leveraging those intellectual property assets, right? That means, again, in addition to maybe you're selling tangible products, but in addition to that, are there certain intangible qualities and intangible things that you have infused into your business? Your brand might be one of those. I think about the big businesses that we know today. I think about the Googles. I think about Amazon. I think about Apple. I think about all those. Let me tell you, their brands are worth more than the physical properties that they have. It is the name behind it that they've invested into that actually, when you go to the bank, holds more value. If they were to take all their physical assets and put it together and sell it, the money that would come from that would be less than what is equated to the value of just the name. That is the power of intellectual property assets. And in this upcoming age, as things are transitioning, we're ringing the alarm, we're sounding the alarm. We have to be figuring out, how do I get a piece of this digital landscape? How do I get a piece of this intellectual property landscape? How do I own the things that I create? These are the assets. So in addition to getting your land, in addition to, getting your stocks and your bonds, think about what type of intangible digital assets you can retain and own that are intellectual property, things that you can take and you can leverage. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But those assets are critical, super, super, super important. All right. Another one, right, is we want to talk about transformation. This is another thing that you create in your businesses. You all are creating results. You are impacting lives. You are helping people. And those things cannot be understated. They're not to be forgotten. They're not to be diminished. It's valuable. It's valuable. What you're creating is valuable. The transformation that you are able to bring is valuable, but some people don't capture it. I'm going to be honest. That's one of the things that I struggle with sometimes. I know I bring forth value with this channel, and sometimes because of the discretion that is required with law, it's sometimes hard to talk about the transformation that people receive, but we all do it, right? So transformation that I've seen in my clients' lives is they don't have to worry. I have had all-nighters. I will stress so that my clients don't stress, right? And they're able to focus on the things that matter. That's a transformation. Before, without an attorney, they're worried about those things. They're staying up all night about these things. But once they get someone to come in, that transformation is something valuable, right? Understand what transformation you're creating and talk about it and use it. And then finally, let's talk about the evidence. This is the data. Data. We all have to be on top of our A game when it comes to our data and knowing our numbers. These are things that we create. We create evidence. We create evidence of what works and what doesn't work. And when we are intentional about looking at both the anecdotal, so those are the stories, and the empirical, the actual numbers and facts, that data matters. In addition to that, the data, I'll also take aside when we talk about evidence and talk about the data of the people that you come in contact with. That's what all these different businesses and brands are leveraging. They're leveraging the data and the information that they gather. The cookies that are being used when you're on your phone and you're in these different online spaces. They're getting data, they're getting evidence about your behavior, and they're paying attention to it, and they're using it. Now you have the same opportunity. You can gather evidence from your clients and your customers. You can ask the questions. You might not be able to do all the in-depth stuff that Apple does, but you can do some of it if you do some research into it. And if you don't want to, you can at least talk to your audience. You can talk to your clients. You can talk to the people that you are interested in serving, right? And so you have all of these different things that you needed to do. Right. And so it's all really important. It's really important to really leverage and pay attention to the things that you create. Now, once you recognize that you're creating all of those things, it's not enough. I still stand by that. It is not enough to create capital. It's not enough to just create relationships. It's not enough to just execute. It's not enough to have assets. It's not enough to bring transformation. It's not enough to have the evidence. You have to rock what you create, right? I think about swag a little bit. I think about when you know you own something, you know how to use it, right? You leverage it, you show up with it. You got to rock what you create. You got to show up. Another mentor in that I really look up to, Maya Elias, she is consistently about putting yourself out there. And I think essentially she's like, rock what you create. Don't be shy about it, because no one knows that you can help them if you're not talking about it. And again, this is an area I'm talking to myself, but it's an area where we can all grow, right? And it's about leveraging these things. Now, what do I mean when I say rock what you create? Here are 4 things. I don't want you to forget this. If there's anything, I want you to remember: create and then rock. So ROC stands for register, organize, control, and then charge. We're not just going to create things. We're not just going to create capital. We're not just going to create relationships. We're not just going to create execution. We're not just going to create assets. We're not just going to create all of these different things. We're not just going to create, right? We're going to make sure that we rock what we create. We're going to make sure that we register. So this is super important. This is when you're no longer, because this is where we trip up. Again, creativity has never been an issue. When I was talking about all those things, you were like, oh yeah, I created this. I created that. I created this. The issue has never been you not creating. You are a creative individual. It's part of your DNA. It's part of your blood. We are creators, right? That's what we're made up of. But we don't all value and therefore rock what we create. We don't all figure out, how can I register, if there are opportunities to do that, register the assets that I create. We don't all organize the things that we create. We don't all control the things that we create. Ooh, that's a big one. And we don't all charge what we create. We don't figure out ways, innovative ways to say, hey, I'm going to put this out in the world and I'm going to request something for exchange. So let's talk about these really quickly. I'm going to take each one. I want to talk about registering. All right. So registering, I talk about this stuff often. I talk about registering this. Okay. I see some people are hanging out. What's up, my people? Right? I see Forever Day. I see you, Bonnie. I see 24-hour boss. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Right? But we want to make sure again that we are registering, organizing, controlling, and charging. So let's get into that, right? Registering. This is about registering your intellectual property and registering your business assets. One of the biggest things is that we don't know what we have. We have no documentation to show we actually own the things that we've created. And that's where people come and take advantage of us. There are many business owners who people take advantage of you because you have not registered what you have. You've not registered your business. You've not registered your intellectual property. And so other people are able to come and take your stuff. They're able to copy it. They're able to use the things that you make, maximize it, but not able to, you don't get any credit for it because you haven't registered it. Right? Why not? It's time to understand that what you create matters. What you create matters. What you create matters. You have to register it. Register your business because it matters, because you take yourself seriously. Register your business. Listen, I have videos about the different ways in which you have tax options that are opening up to you. And there are all these different things. You have liability that you're able to protect yourself from or use. You're able to get limited liability protection. All of these things are available to you when you register your business, when you register your intellectual property with copyrights, with trademarks, with patents. These are some of the things, if we want to talk about what celebrities do, celebrity strategy is they don't play because they know what they create matters. Some of us, the issue isn't really that, it's not a financial issue. It's really it's a mindset issue. Because if you thought that what you created mattered, you would figure out a way to pay for it. I'm sorry. I might be stepping on some people's toes today. I might be in your business, but I care. Right? Like I think about, and I take my own advice. I'm saying things that we should do, but I'm also saying things that I work towards, things that I do. So I don't play with the ideas that I create, right? There are things that I have my own trademarks because I say what I create matters. I have my own copyrights because what I create matters. It matters. And I'm going to treat it as such so that if anybody wants to come and talk to me, they understand that these things, I recognize the value. You're not going to talk crazy to me. Beyonce recognizes the value of what she creates. That's why she owns all of her stuff. Taylor Swift, she learned that lesson. That's why she creates and protects what she creates. She says, I'm going to retain ownership over this because when I own it, then I'm organized, right? When you register things, you're able to have documentation that keeps you organized. It's able to say, this is what I own. This is when I started to own this. This is when I started to use this. This is it. You build history. You build credibility. You build legacy. You build all the things that we look at when we look at other more established brands and businesses that we value. It's because they've been documenting their things from the beginning, because even before everybody else said what they create matters, they thought about it and they knew that what they said was going to be something that would be valuable. So they documented it, they registered it, they owned it, they harnessed it. You want to register and then organize your stuff. One of the things that I've been doing for a lot of clients lately is just getting people organized. I see a lot of, again, creative businesses. You're so excited. So you have this entity or you have that, you have this all over the place, but there is no organization to it. And what happens is if life happens, if you have to step away from your business, if somebody passes away, you have nothing to transfer that and to leverage it for other opportunities. You have nothing that you're able to pass on to people easily in a clear, simple manner, right? Because it's not organized. So we want to get you to a place where you're organizing the things that you own. And I'm talking about from a business perspective in terms of your entities. I'm talking about your intellectual property. I'm talking about even getting organized with your life, your estate planning, your wills, your trust. Get organized because what you create matters. Your legacy matters. All right. So we've talked about registering. We've talked about organizing. We've talked about control. We haven't talked about control. Let's talk about control. I got ahead of myself. So we're registering our stuff, we're organizing our stuff. Now we can control our stuff, right? So people talk about Beyonce's multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix. She did that because she registered and organized what she owns. And then she was like, well, I'm going to keep my control over it. This is where, when you don't properly register your stuff, you're not able to properly control it. In this world that we live in this United States of America, that many people are watching and streaming this particular program, right? In this United States, ownership is not a matter of creativity. Ownership is a matter of law. And that means control is a matter of law. Don't get it twisted. You might create something and there might be some default rules, but if you are not absolutely intentional about documenting what you actually own, you will not be able to control it at the end. You will not be able to control the way the government uses it. You will not be able to control it and leverage it to pass it on. You will not be able to really move yourself forward. And again, getting back to that place of scalable wealth, it's not going to happen. So we want to make sure that we are registering, organizing, and controlling what we create. Let's get in control of our businesses, of our lives, of our matters. Can we prioritize that? We have one more quarter left in the year. Can we say that that's going to be something we get done? You don't have to do it by yourself. Again, you have relationships, but we can choose to register, organize, control our things. This is, again, where I feel like, particularly in minority communities, this is where people take advantage of us because we have not registered what we have, because we are disorganized. And this has happened to me as well. So I'm speaking from experience and I'm speaking from what I see within my office. Because we are not organized and we don't have our things registered, other people come in and they control us. They control us because they are able to look like what they have matters more than what you have, right? And then they're able to control us because they bring in the structure that we haven't done. They bring in the structure and we're like, whew, but they bring in that structure with control. And if we're able to exercise that for ourselves, we can retain it. If we can do that for ourselves, we can retain it. Start small. Get a list. I'm saying, even if you don't want to talk to me, right? You're not ready. Sit down today, sit down tomorrow and just write out your assets, write out what you have. Be aware of it, right? Just in case something were to happen to you, like so that you can tell your family, I own this, I don't own that. You know how many people don't know what they own and their family members have no idea? Like, do you have a place where it's documented? I had to sit down one day and document the things that I own. I don't have all the stuff that I want to have in life, but I have some things, and it needs to be documented. It needs to be organized so that I can control it, so that I can leverage it. And even when it comes to my brand, even when it comes to the things that I'm creating, I want to register, organize, control. And then finally, we want to charge. Right? We want to charge. And what do I mean? We want to charge forward. We want to push these things. Once we've registered, organized, and we know we have control of our assets, we want to go back to the things that we've created and leverage them, right? So we want to start infusing our businesses with the capital. And again, capital is hard, right? Getting cash is hard, especially in today's day and age. But what about the relationships, right? So when you have decided that you own your brand, right? And you have registered your trademarks, right? And you've registered your copyrights, you can boldly approach other businesses. You can boldly approach other people. There doesn't have to be a big business. Find another person in your space who serves similar clients and ask, can you partner? I have some people that I've done partnerships with. I've done certain lives with people, and I've been talking to other folks about doing more of that, right? Figuring out ways to leverage the relationships, the systems that you have. Are you thinking about ways to document them? So I'll give you a perfect example. You all know me, I'm an attorney. I do work for clients, business owners. But guess what? I have systems with regards to how I create my videos. I have systems with regards to the way I create content. I have written those down. I've documented them. I've shared them with the world. So I've built more relationships. And guess what? Your girl got a book coming out. I don't know if y'all know that. I have a book coming out at the end of the year. Yes, because I have organized those things into systems, right? And I'm consistently thinking about how can I distill the information I have into a system that I can leverage. Even today, what are you seeing? You're seeing a system, you're seeing organization, right? So you take all of those things and you charge it forward. You don't just have the ideas, you organize it and you push it forward and you spread it out, right? You get your assets. Again, I have my registered trademarks, my registered copyrights. I'm taking as much as I can. I've made my mistakes. Trust me, one of these days I'll tell you about some of the mistakes I've made with regards to these things. And I've seen some mistakes made, and I can share some of those too. But when you figure out that what you create matters and you lean into that, man, oh man. Right? And then transformation evidence, like pushing it out there. Again, I've got to give credit to the people I know who are constantly talking about what they do. Maya Elias, I have to give credit to her because she's not scared to say, these are the results that I produce for people. Right? And if you don't have the evidence, you got to ask yourself, why not? Like, let's again talk about not just anecdotal, like you feel good, but empirical. Like, what is your data telling you about the results you have? Right? Are you truly getting people to that place where to the transformation, whatever it is? Are you selling the things you want to sell? Are you having people experience what you say they're going to experience? Get the data on it so that you can know what to do. But that's what it looks like when you are rocking what you create. Right? When you are rocking what you create, this is what's happening. Now, I know again today, I've been very impassioned about this. I've been very excited about sharing all of this with you, but it's because I want us to finish this year strong. I want us to finish this year strong. And I see we've had so many people in the chats coming through. Thank you all for just joining. Now, I said that we were going to go through and talk about these different things. I'll share some areas and where you can connect with me if that's what you want to do. But are there any questions you have? I'm looking in the chat. I'm seeing some people, right? I'm seeing some folks come through, right? So let me know. Are there any questions that you have? Are there any questions that you have? Right? Some of our folks are coming through. Hello again. Hello again. I'm looking at the chat. Any questions about this framework, rock what you create, or just intellectual property, anything? I know I've been here for about 45 minutes and I know people have been in and out. I'm trying to see if I had some folks join from Instagram, have some folks on YouTube, right? Yes, welcome. Hey, hello. Yes, we have a book coming out. We have a whole book coming out. Yes. So that's part of the things, but I want us to do more. Actually, I might share this. I'm working on a couple of different things. So there's the book that it's called Show Don't Tell, and it's geared primarily towards lawyers, but anybody can really use it if it's something that you are interested in. It should be out by the end of the year. It's being published by the American Bar Association. So besides talking to everyday people on YouTube, I also talk to lawyers on a regular basis. I love presenting and speaking. So it's one of those things that we're able to do. But yeah, that book is coming out. And I think I've already started thinking about my next project. My next project really ties into this idea of rocking what you create. And it's about taking ownership of the spaces that we have. So it's going to be a little bit different than what you are usually used to hearing from me, because it's not going to necessarily be so tactical and technical from a legal aspect, but it's going to be more of a mindset thing, because I think that's where we need to do the work, right? I know that's where I've needed to do the work too, right? So that's been one of those things. Hey, Mariah. All right. And I have a question. NA, let's see your question. You said lack of organization is my stuck place. How would you suggest setting up a strategy / plan of action? Okay, I love this question because I'm not the most organized. Like I can be organized when it comes to creating a particular plan for I can be organized when it comes to determining a plan of action for getting things done. But in terms of my day to day, I'm not the most organized person. It's just the truth. And so what helps me when I am operating better is two things, I would say. It's actually prioritizing the time that I need to think through all my stuff. I'll say three things. It's keeping it simple. Number one is I try and keep it super simple. I'm a note taker, so I'll brain dump and it depends on what you're trying to organize, but let's say you're trying to organize your time. I brain dump all my tasks. If it's about organizing the things that I have, I will do a rough draft of things. Like your first draft doesn't need to be pretty. So I think when it comes to getting organized, I think the first part is knowing that you don't need to start organized to get organized. Like you're going to get dirty. So write out the things that you have. If you're trying to figure out your systems and your plans, take a scratch piece of paper. I wish I could show you. My family sees I'm a mind map person. I make a mess of my ideas first. Once I do that, once I get it out of my head and it's on a piece of paper, I'm then able to look at those pieces of papers, whether it's with regards to a conversation, a topic, or a talk I'm giving, or whether it's regards to understanding the assets that I own, or if it's with regards to my schedule, whatever it is. Once I get it out of my head, I can then look at it and then I can decide, okay, what's my priority or what's sticking out? So if it's about time, I can say, what's the most important thing that I need to focus on today, right? And I can list them out. Now, I usually will prioritize my task list. Like I'll write out everything with no order. And then I'll go back and write a number next to it in terms of the order that I need to do it. So number 1, this needs to be done. Number 2, this needs to be done. Number 3, this needs to be done. And then the next day, because I usually do this at night, the next day I don't need to think and make a decision about it because I did the thinking the night before. And I'm just executing like that. If we're talking about organization when it comes to my business, again, I'm a big mind map person. So I'm throwing all the things out there. I decide 1 or 2 systems that I want to work on, and I might work on the one system. I'm not working on all the systems at the same time. I might get a rough draft of like, okay, what am I doing for marketing? What am I doing for operations? What am I doing in terms of delivering a service, right? But I will have to take one step and then like organize all of those once I get that brain dump out. The other thing that I would say, besides like being okay with getting messy, is getting help. It's okay to get help. I'll tell you, it took me a while in my law firm before I actually invested in getting some support because, and this was maybe more of a mindset thing as well. You feel like you have to do it all on your own. You also, at least for me, I felt like I needed to do it all on my own. There was also maybe a little bit of like, I haven't reached this pinnacle of whatever, I don't know, whatever success I guess I needed to have to say, oh, then I deserve help. Like, we're humans. Help is okay. Right. So to the extent that you can, even if you're able to find, like my first person I brought into my firm was a virtual assistant, and I never had them come in full time. I don't actually have any full time staff right now. I have many people who are part time, and it ebbs and flows. But I didn't bring on somebody full time. I didn't bring on something that was going to overwhelm me. But I did figure out ways to get myself help so I didn't have to do everything. right? When you have to do everything, you're not able to focus on the things that matter most. And even now in this season, I'm getting more help because I just know that I have all these ideas, things that I want to get out to the world, but I can't do it on my own. Help might also not be just somebody you hire. Help might be using the people around you. So I have a couple of folks in my life who are good at helping me organize because they think in a more organized way. My younger brother, he helped point out, he was like, you're not the best at prioritization sometimes. So sometimes I talk through things with him and he's like, no, you need to prioritize this. And as simple as that might sound, it helps me because I'm like, oh, that outside input was valuable. So it doesn't have to be always paid help. I have many people, mentors, my mentors and friends and sisters, they help me. So I have a few, my roommate, she's somebody she thinks through processes in a different way. So I have one area of strength with regards to processes, but she's also able to pick up gaps in areas. So every now and then I run ideas by her and she'll ask me questions. And sometimes it's uncomfortable because I'm like, why are you getting all up in my business? But she helps pick up on certain things and is like, actually, this might be an area of growth. This might be an area that you have a blind spot. So even when you're unable to necessarily pay for help, get help from other people, right? That can assist you. So those were two things. I think I said there were third things, but I might have said two or three. Any other questions? And I'm so glad that that was helpful to you. So glad that that was helpful to you. You know, I think I saw someone else say, awesome. And they said that my energy is making her feel so inspired. That is the point. I want you all to be inspired today. I want you all to be inspired to do more. I want you to be inspired to show up. I want you to be inspired to take up space. I want you to be inspired to know that what you create matters. I want you to know that it really does. Like, I'll give you one more other instance. So if you follow me on social, again, I don't share a lot, but when I'm going to conferences, I like to document those and I'll share those. And recently, one of the last times I came back, someone sent me a message and they were like, thank you so much. This is inspiring. Right. And I was like, oh, no problem. And then they told me, they were like, and it was a former coworker. I used to teach. So it was somebody who used to teach with me. And they're like, I noticed that you would put yourself out there to go for these conferences, it inspired me to try. And so they submitted a proposal to speak at a conference. And this is a teacher. And you know, teachers are superheroes. They're superheroes. And so this superhero decided that, you know, I'm going to try and put myself out there. And she put a proposal forward to speak at a conference, and lo and behold, that proposal was accepted. And you know why? It's because what we create matters. And here's the thing. There are going to be instances and times where you might not get the proposal accepted. It doesn't mean that what you create doesn't matter. It means that it's not for that audience. It might be for someone else, right? And that is okay. Listen, one of the things I've learned, I've been in this business for 10 years. I'm not new to this. I am true to this. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is I don't take rejection personally in my business. It has nothing to do with me. People reject me because their pockets are different. People reject me because their values are different. That's not my problem. My values are different from other people. What's some things I don't particularly value? I don't particularly value cars like that. I don't particularly value clothes like that. Yeah, I don't really value clothes like that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of money on clothes because I just don't value it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't value it. That's what you value. So in business, I don't take things personally, right? And I let people's decisions, whether they want to work with me or not, just reflect what they value. Some people value their time, right? And because they value their time, they don't mind spending money, right, to protect their time, to make more of it. Like, that's a really deep thing that I learned. I was thinking about a few of my clients, and there was one in particular that was coming to mind. And I just knew that that person valued their time because they didn't hesitate to have me do things for them. It was a clear conversation in the ways the wealthy value their time. People who are wealthy, I should have added that. People who are wealthy leverage their time. They don't play with it, right? And so they don't mind spending money to protect that. I've learned to do that. That's why I get help, because I'm like, I don't want to spend all my time here and I'm going to spend more money. It's because I want more time, right? So there are some people who they don't value their time as much because they will struggle with a problem on their own without getting help. And again, this is, of course, there's always, your wallets, there's always that financial consideration. But I'm saying I see it in other instances where it's not about that. It's just a matter of your value. You don't mind spending a week of your time researching the law, when you could just hire a lawyer and keep working on your business. That's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm okay with that. There are people who value their time more. I don't take it personally. And I'm saying this to say you shouldn't take it personally when somebody just shows you what they value. It's not saying that you don't matter. It's saying that that's a reflection of their personal values. Again, I might not buy all the clothes. It doesn't mean that this person's clothing isn't beautiful. It's not this, it's not that. It's completely valuable to someone else. It's fine. Right? Okay, so any other questions? Any other questions from folks? Oh, thank you, 24-hour boss. Like, if you're telling me that these are good tips, they've got to be good tips. You need to check out his YouTube. He's awesome. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? Let's see. All right. You are so welcome, NA. I'm so glad that this was helpful, right? You don't have to start organized to get organized. So true. All right. Well, I hope that this has been helpful to you all. Now, one thing, I actually should have probably shared this before. Yes. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're finding this valuable. I just got a comment. Someone said, keep making wise boss moves. Yes, let's keep making them. Ken, for sure. Now, if you want to just figure some things out, right, for yourself, just get a quick assessment. I do have a quiz that I've created. You know, and if you want to find out if you, put up the wrong thing. If you want to schedule a consult with me, this is the QR code to do that. If you would like to figure out, you know, how well you're doing with rocking what you create, this quiz is going to be really helpful for you. So if you want to scan that QR code, that should be super helpful. This is also available on the website if you go to the assessments page. If you go to my website, www.toslegal.com, there's a place that says media. There are a number of assessments, free assessments to help you figure out where you are with your business. So there's one that's a business vulnerability quiz. You can go there and find out if your business is vulnerable. There's another one that's a trademark readiness quiz. So it's like, okay, am I ready to get a trademark, right? Tami's always talking about these trademarks. Am I actually ready for one? There's also, there is an entity, what's your perfect entity quiz. So when you're trying to figure out, do I need a LLC? Do I need a corporation? Do I need this? Do I need that? Take the quiz and find out. All of this is available at www.toslegal.com under media. Right? You'll see the tab. And so you're able to use that. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. And again, if you want to meet with me, I'm always available. You can schedule a consult with me. One other thing that I was going to tell you about is that every year, I don't think I've shared this publicly before, but every year I have people who are on subscription plans. And what we do with those subscription plans is we help people really organize what they create. We help them rock what they create. We work with them over the course of a year. Sometimes it's a few months, but most of the clients, it's usually 6 months to a year. And we're helping with contract review. We're looking at employee contracts. We're looking at registering trademarks. We're looking at entity organization. And we work with them ongoing for a year. Now, this is not for people who are just starting out your businesses. If you're just starting out your business, keep utilizing the resources on the YouTube channel, keep utilizing the resources on Instagram, keep utilizing the things that are more cost effective to you. If you want to schedule a consultation with me, that's also good. You might be able to do one-off things. But if you're in a place where your business, and I will say this, I'm just going to put it out there, most of the businesses who have used my subscription are in the 7-figure range. So if you are at a place where you're like, and that's the funny thing, again, I'm telling you secrets, but there are 7-figure businesses that don't have it all together, but we can get you there. We don't have to start organized to get organized. That's what I'm here for. Like, let me help you get your legal house in order. So if that's something that you're interested in doing in 2025, I just want you to be aware. We only open up, we're only going to be opening this up twice this upcoming year, once or twice. Just because I don't like to keep it open and have to redo the onboarding and all of that. So I want you to be aware, if there's something you just want to keep on your radar, if you go to the website, you can go to www.toslegal.com/LAP. That stands for Legal Access and Protection Plan. right? If you go there, www.toslegal.com/LAP, you're able to sign up for the wait list so that you can just know when we open up registration for that, if that's something that you're interested in, if you're interested in applying to work with us. This is a small number. There's going to be less than 20 people, clients that we have. It's very intimate because I'm meeting with these people on a regular basis, helping them review contracts, helping them really know what's going on in their legal world in a really in-depth way, in a way that is not the same for people who I do one-off trademarks and entity formations for, right? So just be aware of that. So again, www.toslegal.com. I will put it in the chat for you. All right. So that's that. I wanted to let you know. And again, if you wanted to schedule anything, if you're more so like, I just need some initial guidance, let me put that information for that. And you also have the QR code. All right. We've been here way longer than I thought I was going to be, and I probably will hop on LinkedIn because I want to make sure I connect with the LinkedIn community a bit today. But this has been so great. Let me know, leave comments, leave this in chat, share this on your social media. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.